Crypto media friends. Hey. Welcome to the Overtime Show here. I believe I'm live. I'm hoping I'm live. Another show here. Friday night. Oh my gosh. Weekend plans. I'm sure crypto is going to change by Monday. Like it's going to be completely different. But we have a bit of a follow-up today on the metaverse and the Snoop Dogg land sale. I wanted to try and follow up on that because I think some interesting things happen, and certainly some massive sales happen. And the guidance that we kind of offered on the channel on the release day on the first. I think may have paid off for one or two of you, and I'm hoping it did. If you did, please put in the comment section or just hit me up on Twitter or something, because I think you did pretty well. Lands are now valued in that area around $50,000 US, and sort of bargains in a sense around that area that I talked about 7 to 11 ETH. Were being snapped up, and if you were one of those, tip of the hat to you, because I think, and let's talk about what we see in this space, is a lot of possibility with the initial land sale, the wave one, had 122 lands, 67 premium, and 3 small estates. And I had mentioned to you guys, and if you can see here just under Snoop, one of the unreleased things is, I kind of mentioned it on Twitter. I was like, guys, they actually give away which area the Nipsey Hussle is going to be. And just under Snoop there is that little 9x9 area. Sorry, it's a 3x3 area. A 9 square is going to be an area dedicated to Nipsey Hussle, the late great rapper and community builder here in Los Angeles. I just thought that was super awesome and dope, and I just so happened I was just like, oh, that's kind of near where my land went. And so you see these other 3 white estates here. Those ended up going for quite the pretty penny, and obviously the offers are for $55,000 for that one, and it ranged. You can see the one right next to Nipsey and right under Snoop, 67, and the other one to the right, just over here, was 70 or so. So that essentially, these little estates, breaking them up into 9s at that price range of about $470,000. I think we're dealing with a little bit of an ETH hit today, but essentially nearly $500,000 for these, and breaking them up in by 9, you get sort of a newfound sense of the value of land in this area. And so making each one of those squares relatively worth $50,000 US, given again ETH and sand sales. It's a bit tricky and it's a bit slippery right now, isn't it? But again, giving general value to these areas that I think are a bit unprecedented in the sandbox at the moment. And it's because there is such great interest in, I think, what Snoop's going to do. I mean, if you look at that trailer, we've showed the trailer here on the show before, but that trailer is kind of hype. What they're going to do is they're going to build one of the best, there's Nipsey, venues in the metaverse for music, probably for a lot of blunt smoking, if we're being honest, right? But you get a sense here, this is sort of a peek at an even more elaborate peek at the space that they're going to create. And it's a massive concert venue. And, I think it's just filled with a lot of great metaverse experiences. And you can imagine, just the lifestyle play. It's just going to be an exciting place. And you're going to have live music there, okay, quote unquote live music. And in that, you have it being so central, I think, to... sorry, I was going to bring up the Landbot sales as well. You're bringing up just sort of a landmark in which to associate value with. And then so as you kind of associate the value around those lands, what else is there in the metaverse that you can imagine being a live concert venue, being an area that is going to do a good job with the space that they're given. And I think if you look right now, it's so tough with the sandbox game because it's just so laggy at the moment, because it's just being really pushed and pulled. And I think the land sale with Snoop is really taking a center focus that's disallowing for I think retail investors to really look at the map with a full understanding of what to buy. Sorry, it's being a bit laggy on us right now, but I think that opens up an opportunity because you don't get to sort of pick and choose and see the lands as clearly as you'd want. That creates sort of a veil of value over everything, and you kind of have to do the legwork, if you will, to find what's for sale and what's available, because doing the apply filters and all these things are only giving estates, and so there's a lot, and the usual sort of white dots aren't really there right now. So understanding what's for sale is a bit mysterious, because usually, as you pick up a land, you can kind of get a sense of what's for sale, and following how to value. Here we go. It's a really laggy, right? You don't really have a good sense of what's available at the moment, and so that creates, I think, an opportunity, and that's based upon, okay, we can look at Snoop and we're gonna say, okay, that's gonna be a venue. What else has the potential to be a big draw into the metaverse? Is Atari. I think Atari could be really big if you look at their work in sorry for this. I told you guys about this mouse. This mouse in the metaverse does not mix. Please, Apple, fix this. The Walking Dead, clearly is going to have, a great draw. Speaking of Walking Dead, let's jump into Eartha. Eartha was it's not something that I'm into. It's very early days for this. I know in a previous video, some of the Eartha fans kind of dropped that they just opened their marketplace, and I saw on the roadmap that they have coins being dropped soon. You can tell it's a nice little project. I mean, anything with a globe, I'm kind of already interested, right? It just has like especially if it's a realistic globe, it's kind of interesting. You're like, oh, let's go to Tanzania and find Mount Kilimanjaro and buy it. And so, there's other games like this, clearly, but I think what really piqued my interest was, looking at their roadmap. Early days, 3 years of initial game development, awesome. They look like they're starting, Q2, Q1-ish. They're doing, smart chain pre-sales, and so, really nice thing to maybe look at and be in early days on. The interest for me was the genre. I was like, guys, are we missing the opportunity here? If you guys want to get in on this action, if they don't do it, we should. And that's, look at this like dead girl. I'm like, first, like, the interest is like, own NFT land in Earth and Metaverse and generate lifetime revenue. And you're just like, oh, okay, I get the DeFi pitch there. But then they show like this kind of zombie girl. Just like, I was like, I don't know what kind of gains you're going to be banging in her world, because it's, pretty scary looking. But man, what a great inspiration. Why not a metaverse of horror? I think that would be so super cool. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, because we bring great ideas to life. And if you want to get in on that, hit me up. We'll work on a metaverse dedicated to horror, because that would be kind of incredible. And so, yeah, sandbox wise, looking at other projects, I started asking around other projects. You can see they're buying these squares. And so I started asking the ones that I'm involved with. I was like, yeah, what are you guys up to in this space? Everybody's super close to the vest. And, because I don't think anybody has an idea of what this is yet. Half of them can't even get in there as they're alpha testing currently. But I think, from the previews that I'm seeing and from what I'm hearing, these are much like Atari has. I think Atari has probably the biggest head start of anybody because of their experience within Decentraland and their building of casinos within Decentraland. They understand the technology behind how to monetize their space and how to create environments for their space and create experiences. And I think that's what, at its height is the sandbox, for anybody. And so that's why I bought a piece of land there, because, ostensibly I don't necessarily want to flip. But for me, I thought like, wow, being next to a great live venue really plays into the strategy of what I'd like to do in the space. And so, as I was looking around, I'm like, okay, what else? And so Atari, again, I'm getting more and more bullish on Atari because I saw how immediately they grabbed onto this. And I do know, again, of their head start and certainly their properties of recognition. We all know their games, and if they're able to bring those to some degree to the sandbox, create experiences and create, again, revenue generation, I'm a bit bullish on their coin, even though that coin has been in consolidation for a long time, which as I talk about it makes me want to buy it more because it has been in consolidation for a very long time. Probably near around 12 cents is not bad, in terms of a purchase point. No financial advice, none here ever on this channel, because we're talking about the metaverse and NFTs and in ways as creators and how to bring value to people who do visit. And so I think Atari has a big leg up on that. And being next to one, and why I'm talking about these lands is you can associate your ideas with specific lands, and I think that's why a lot of people are trying to take advantage of the fact that there's a land available around Snoop, and that there's high demand. It's just like I wonder how good they think they've done, because I think they've done quite amazing in selling lands. This just in 2 days, selling this block, they're going to go and sell this block in about 5.5 days, and I think they're just going to keep selling out, and they're going to do wave 3 here and sell out at a really rapid pace because the interest is so high. Again, because the idea of the metaverse and bringing musical acts to the metaverse, I think, has an instantaneous draw. I mean, who doesn't, I miss concerts, I miss music festivals, and I think that, the Travis Scott sort of experience was, in the metaverse was a very nice one. And so, these other plays, sorry, I'm trying to look for it's like a lot of punks, a lot of individual NFT holders have purchased lands and put their own NFTs there, but Wax, right? And so what is Wax going to build? What could they build? And what's the lands around them? Well, they got estates around them, but somebody clearly is going to sell individual. They've broken up their lands. And so when you look at what's available with that in mind, and it's I think this is kind of how you're seeing right now in the marketplace without sort of that map zooming in. You have an ability to look at sort of what lands are being sold near adjacent parcels of other projects that you might either jive with, or genre wise you think is cool. If you dig Smurfs, like who doesn't dig a Smurf? And so it's just kind of tough right now. Zed Run, Zed did an amazing job. That's a bid, isn't it? It's not a buy now. But Zed did an amazing job in the metaverse. So if you get land next to Zed, it's going to be like really well done. And you're going to get people there. And now, ostensibly, within the metaverse of the sandbox, you're going to get rewarded with having foot traffic through a certain area, because you're going to be able to advertise on there. And advertisers are going to be able to ping and understand exactly who's walking by, and how many people are walking by, and always have that as a bit of a register. So if you're purchasing well in terms of these areas, and again, it's a little tougher here than Decentraland. Decentraland has roads, so you kind of understand, okay, if I go next to a road, somebody's going to have to like walk by. I don't quite fully understand, to be honest, to be fair, how we're transporting between spaces. I think obviously, like Decentraland, you can just transport right into certain spaces. But here, I don't know how we're traversing between lands, if at all. But at least if you have some proximity, you do have the possibility of traffic nearby, and that can be a huge way to fund activities on your land, and artistic development, etc. Having and showing your collection, having and showing your art, having and showing your music. I love Pranksy's like area is just so beautiful, but I just don't. There's that big red thing here. The photo that she has there is just, it's so beautiful and so awesome, but I just don't know what she has in mind or yet. And so, but if you're a big fan, maybe you do, maybe follow, and you're like, hey, that's a great space for me. You can kind of get an understanding of land sales. There's the bot. On Twitter, there's a Sandbox land bot, and you can get a real sense of what's actually selling at what price. And so you can see there's great deals for 11,000 USD. Again, you have to examine, and it'll tell you the coordinates. So 181 down 55. That's not too bad, actually. So average wise, they're selling about 30. This is a great deal at 13,000. This is a massive deal. Somebody scored there. -2. Again, centrality is very important at the moment, because you have a lot of things that are built out with a lot of traffic in the center right. And so that's a huge get for whoever got that. And remember that this black part is not the ocean. I talked about this in the last video. It's going to be land. It's going to be built out. So don't buy the pitch from somebody that's like, oh, this is by the ocean. You're getting oceanfront property. It's not. But you can get a sense, as I was talking about, like, Smurfs, and then that's not bad by Snoop. And so this is, part of the lure and the marketing of even owning the NFT, and I try and explain sort of land ownership as if you're looking at an NFT, because you're looking at a lot of variables, whether it's location, but you're also looking at a physical picture that has, especially in the sandbox. This doesn't apply to Decentraland. Decentraland is still very bland when it comes to like looking at the land. You have to really adjust and then jump into the land. Here, you can quickly see, oh, okay, I want to be by this open land by Sandbox, or I want to be by the Care Bears. Who doesn't want to be by the Care Bears? They're going to have an amazing thing. And so Care Bears, fantastic. I want to be near there. And so you get a sense with this snapshot of the NFT as it's centered, and you can associate quickly, oh, this is near Care Bears. Okay, fantastic. That's going to be an amazing experience, or that is an amazing experience. And thereby, creating value instantaneously just through the NFT OpenSea's process of just seeing it on OpenSea's and saying like, oh, okay, cool, it's next to these things. Here's another really nice Snoop Dogg land. It's like the more you can see a Snoop's face, you're like, wow, that's pretty nice. This is just above my land. Now selling at 21,000, and so having these things to view creates tremendous value. I think instantaneous value and marketability. And so, if you need to liquidate out, or I think, choosing next to things that have in your mind the potential, or, early whispers, the potential of having, this is goodbye for 16, a proximity within the space to experiences that are really going to build out. That's going to allow you to sort of build out your own world and develop an audience that you might not have, sort of way out there over by Pranksy, like if her experience, isn't super dope. But this Landbot bot gives you, and this is an interesting one, over by Wicked Craniums. This is so understanding and knowing the icons for popular NFTs does help. I think when you look at, something like there's so many Bored Apes, it's hard to know what's the official one. And so, but some of the other ones are pretty clear. And so this skull is Wicked Craniums. And, it's a very nice, it's 6x6, it's a really good space, a big space. And so, and if you know enough about the projects, and this is what's great, please in the comments section, after you like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, because I do this live, because you don't get this live unless you hit the bell notification, and you missed out. Like if you guys missed out, if you were here on the first, I think you did pretty well by staying with me live and understanding that I do this live, because this information is going to be changed like within 2 days, especially those Snoop land sales. So, but here, same opportunity. If you understand sort of the project and what they're going for, you can kind of imagine what it might be. And so Wicked Craniums had just released collabs with artists. They really pride themselves on having great musical artists and great musical acts as part of the fam, if you will. Steve Aoki and Marshmello, and so these great contributors in a sense to the community. But also, I think they have a bit of a 90s alt vibe, to be honest. Sort of a I think it was Alt Press that they did a collab NFT with. So instantly, to me, I'm like, this is a musical venue. They're gonna have musical venue. I just can't imagine them not, to some degree, but I started seeing, somebody had sold this parcel, another Snoop, at 24,000. But you can see another one. And so somebody is consistently buying around 3.3 ETH, which is, relatively low now because of the cost of ETH, so around 14,000, next to Craniums. And so it just kind of, kept popping up, and I was just like, oh, that's interesting. Somebody's buying up nearby. And so I think, somebody might know something. And so here you go again. So if you're on the Sandbox Twitter Landbot, it'll sort of just ping you, or just have a feed of recent sales. You can kind of see sort of what's hot and what's popping, and you can extrapolate potentially why. And that's kind of why I arrived at that conclusion. I'm just like, they're going to have a really cool venue. And I can imagine, that's a really nice buy, having a venue there. And so like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and put in the comments where you're buying, what your strategy is for this space. Your guess is as good as mine, to be honest, because nobody knows anything here. And I always say, like, this is zero financial advice, because we're all kind of experimenting in this space. And but it's kind of clear to see when somebody's buying this much land at that price next to craniums. I feel like somebody knows something. And so hit me up with what your plans are for the metaverse, and especially within the sandbox. Especially if you've gotten into the sandbox and are currently playing, give us a shout down in the comment section. What areas you think are super awesome and super exciting as experiences, so we can begin looking at lands around there together.